Welcome to Traveler's Tales. I am your host, Greg Alonso. Today I will be your guide through history as we take a look at Ibn Battuta, the man who traveled the world. Before we begin, just a quick reminder that we post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday with special editions on Thursdays. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon to be notified each time we post new videos. Moving right along, mythology tells us one thing while history tells us another. Who was Ibn Battuta, and why do we honor him? Did he really travel further than Marco Polo? Where was he from, and how was he able to undertake such journeys? Today we will answer these questions as we take a look at the storied life of this fabled explorer. Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Battuta was born at Berber, Maghrebi in 1368 or 69, more commonly known as Ibn Battuta, which translates as son of the duckling. However, in his book Rihla, he gives his full name as Shams al-Din Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Ibrahim ibn Muhammad ibn Yusuf Lawati al-Tanji ibn Battuta. Talk about a mouthful. Let's press on. He was a scholar and explorer who traveled extensively in the lands of Afro-Asia, largely in the Muslim world. It is generally believed that Ibn Battuta traveled more than any other explorer in pre-modern history. He apparently traveled some 117,000 kilometers or 73,000 miles. He surpassed the Chinese explorer Zheng He, who traveled around 50,000 kilometers or 31,000 miles. Coming in third was Marco Polo with 24,000 kilometers, which is 15,000 miles. Over a period of 30 years, Ibn Battuta visited most of southern Eurasia, including Central Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, China, and the Iberian Peninsula. What about his early life? All that is known about Battuta's earlier years comes from the autobiographical references included in the account of his travels. This records that he was of Berber descent and born into a family of Islamic legal scholars in Tangier. Such scholars are known as Qadis in the Muslim tradition of Morocco. His family also belonged to a Berber tribe known as the Lawata. As a young man, he studied law at the Islamic University at the Islamic school Sunni Maliki Madhaba. Eventually, he served as a religious judge. In 1325, at the age of 21, Ibn Battuta set off from his hometown on a Hajj to Mecca. Such a journey would ordinarily take 16 months. However, he craved adventure and to learn about faraway places, and set out on an epic adventure that reads like a travel guide, and he did not return for 24 years. First, he traveled overland to Mecca. For safety, Ibn Battuta usually joined a caravan to reduce the risk of being robbed. In Sfax, a city in Tunisia, he took a wife. Unfortunately, he did not stay with her very long. Due to a dispute with her father, he soon moved on. This was the first in a series of marriages that would feature in his travels. A year later, he arrived in the city of Alexandria. He then spent several weeks visiting sites in the area. He then moved on and spent the next month in Cairo. Once again on the road, Ibn Battuta ventured to Damascus. Traveled through Syria, he eventually came upon the Levant. There he visited Hebron, Jerusalem, and Bethlehem. He then joined another caravan and proceeded to Mecca and completed his first Hajj. Upon leaving Mecca, Ibn Battuta joined a caravan traveling to Iraq. Instead of continuing with the caravan to Baghdad, he ventured to the town of Isfahan across the Zagros Mountains in Iran. He then explored the flourishing city of Shiraz before setting off for Baghdad. While in Baghdad, he joined the royal caravan of Abu Sa'id until he left to travel on the Silk Road to Tabriz. After visiting Tabriz, he once again set his sights on Baghdad. After a short stay, he then traversed the river Tigris to Mosul, Sizra, and Mardin, which is in present-day Turkey. Due to illness, Ibn Battuta made his way back to Mecca and remained for some 3 years. Once he fully recovered from his malady, he made his way to the port of Jeddah on the Red Sea coast. Sailing a small boat known as a jalba, he made slow progress to Yemen. Upon his arrival, he visited Zabid and the highland town of Taiz. He then ventured to the important trading port of Aden. From Aden, he embarked on a ship heading for Zela on the coast of Somalia. Later, he would visit Mogadishu on the Horn of Africa. Ibn Battuta continued by ship south to the Swahili coast and on to Mombasa. After a journey along the coast, he made his way to present-day Tanzania. After a time, Ibn Battuta set out for Anatolia on a Genoese ship. After traversing across the Ottoman Empire, he set off for Central Asia. He then took a sea route to the Crimean Peninsula and made his way across the realm of the Golden Horde. Eventually, he made his way to the Land of Darkness, which was northern Siberia. He was forced to use the only means of transport, which was by dog sled. Eventually, he reached Astrakhan and joined a royal expedition to Constantinople. After a month in the city, he made his way to Bukhara and Samarkand. Eventually, he traveled to Afghanistan and crossed the Hindu Kush into India. Battuta was appointed Qadi or judge, but feeling the urge to once again travel, he left for China. Unfortunately, the caravan was attacked by bandits and he was separated from the caravan. The thieves robbed and beat him to the point where he nearly lost his life. Despite this setback, he escaped and rejoined the caravan some 10 days later. After this setback, he was off to the Maldives where he spent 9 months recuperating. Throughout his travels, Ibn Battuta kept close company with women, usually taking a wife wherever he stopped for any length of time. He would then divorce them when he decided to move on. While in the Maldives, he was known to have taken 4 wives and received small dowries. Obviously, the islands were quite convenient for him. Once he was off again, he headed for Ceylon. Unfortunately, his ship was attacked by pirates and sunk. His only choice then was to return to India. Once he had recouped, he was off to Southeast Asia. After traveling through the region, he boarded a junk headed for China. Eventually, he arrived in Fujian. After exploring the coastal cities, he made his way to Beijing. Once he decided to leave China, he set course for Morocco. After many hardships and new adventures through Spain and Portugal, he returned home in 1354. In the 24 years he was gone, he endured many hardships, yet he experienced many unbelievable adventures. He met many wise men, prophets, sultans, emirs, and beys, not forgetting that he had also known many women. Towards the end of his life, he set to pen his many travels. The result was his book entitled, A Masterpiece to Those Who Contemplate the Wonders of Cities and the Marvels of Traveling, better known as Rihla or Traveling. Scholars generally do not believe that Ibn Battuta traveled to all those places he claimed to have visited. What do you think? This brings us to the end of Ibn Battuta, the man who traveled the world. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Traveler's Tales. If you enjoyed this video, please consider becoming a channel sponsor. Your support will enable us to continue putting out quality videos, and buying me a coffee always makes my day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Traveler's Tales. This really is the best way to help our channel grow. Until we meet again at the crossroads of folklore and fact, Cartistos.